All right, so Shyamalan, right. His new thriller trap. This deep dive is wild. We're going off of a Spanish language YouTube review.
Oh, wow.
But get this, it's not just a review. We get these amazing insights straight from Shyamalan himself and Josh Hartnett.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they're featured in the review.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's not just like thumbs up or thumbs down. It's like they open up about their creative process.
So we're getting into Shyamalan's vision as a director, Hartnett's method acting.
Exactly.
That's a 2-for-1 deal right there.
Right. Okay, so the movie. Picture this. You ready?
Yeah, hit me.
A serial killer at a huge pop concert.
Okay.
But he's walking into a trap.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Talk about a twist.
That's classic Shyamalan, though.
Yeah, the reviewer's like, this is Hitchcockian.
Oh.
They even compare it to Rear Window and, The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Right, those classic suspense films, which it makes sense. I mean, think about it. Shyamalan sets it up so we're seeing everything from the villain's point of view.
Oh, interesting.
The guy we're supposed to be terrified of, suddenly we're right there with him.
And you're almost rooting for him.
Exactly. Oh. He's making us sympathize with a killer. Classic Shyamalan.
And the way he describes this first act, it's like nonstop escape, trying to get out of this concert. And the reviewer's like, the suspense is almost too much.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of backfires. It's so intense.
Makes you wonder if that's intentional. Knowing Shyamalan, it probably is.
Oh, for sure. This is the king of the gotcha moment, right?
Right. But, this reviewer argues that some of his best work happens before the big reveal. Like, purely through how he uses the camera.
To build the suspense.
Exactly.
Oh, I totally see that. I mean, think about The Sixth Sense or even Signs, like that slow burn just cranking up the tension.
Exactly. And the reviewer actually asks Shyamalan about this directly, and his response is gold. He's like, yeah, that's where the magic happens,
Oh, really?
Yeah. He says, outstanding for prep and shooting, but a lot of people, I think, get it wrong. And that area from when the script's done to when we shoot, that's where I make the movie.
Wow. He's so direct. That's where I make the movie.
Yeah. And he talks about, meticulous planning, every camera angle, every movement, it's all about making the audience feel something specific.
Right. So it's calculated, but also, it's got to be instinctual, too, right?
He says, so we get to the Olympics, and I can succeed, and so every minute counts. So I'm saying, okay, we want the camera to come around, and it's going to represent your decision-making, and when you make the decision, it's going to stop.
Oh, wow. So he's thinking about all these layers.
Multiple layers, yeah.
It's like he's playing us like instruments, like those long, drawn-out shots that build up.
Oh, yeah.
You can practically feel it in your chest.
He even says, and the other character is going to be on screen, but then we're not going to see them for the last third, and it's going to end. So what piece of equipment will get us there? How do we... that the actor has to know, that the other actors have to know, how do we block that? What's best behind them? So when I do that move, production design, can you put that thing that was fun before, but now when we get there, feels scary behind him? Those colors, red pop, That's all happening before the day.
Oh, wow. So he's thinking about everything.
Yeah, he's thinking about the set design.
And colors. It's almost like it's architectural, the way he describes it.
It's true.
Building this house of horrors, and we're walking right into it.
And the reviewer totally picks up on that, too. He's like, even the way Shyamalan lights a scene, it can change the whole mood.
Oh, absolutely.
Make it feel claustrophobic or just, menacing.
Okay, so we've got Shyamalan, master of suspense, but what about the acting? The reviewer, he raved about Josh Hartnett's performance.
Oh, yeah.
As this killer, and he even calls it unexpectedly physical.
Yeah, you don't really think of Josh Hartnett as, this intimidating presence, right?
Right.
But the reviewer's totally right.
Interesting.
He brings this unexpected physicality to the role. And remember, we're seeing everything through his eyes.
From the killer's point of view.
Yeah.
Which, again, classic Shyamalan, right? Putting us in the shoes of somebody that morally we shouldn't be rooting for.
You're not supposed to like this guy.
But you kind of do.
But you do. And Hartnett plays into that brilliantly. The reviewer even said he bulked up for the role, he wanted to be physically imposing.
Oh, interesting. So he was really getting into character.
Yeah, and Hartnett says, and I tried to gain as much muscle as possible for the role. I put on this big, ugly yellow jacket to stick out. I wanted him to be fish out of water, but also very super in tune with his daughter, wanting to kind of please her in some way, in a way that was more logic driven than it was empathy driven, obviously, because he doesn't have a lot of empathy.
Oh, so he's got these daddy issues too.
Right.
On top of being a serial killer. this is getting complicated.
Well, that's what makes it so interesting. It's like you wouldn't expect a serial killer to have this like soft spot. And he goes on to say, and then when things start to crack and his two worlds start to combine, that basically people start to, find out what's going on with him, I wanted there to be another dualistic approach or duality there, where he is both really, really excited because he's a narcissist. And the fact that they've set up this entire trap for him is kind of exciting, and he might get to tell his story, because I found out that most of these serial killers really want to tell their story. They want everyone to know they're so clever.
It's like he's almost turned on by the fact that he's being hunted.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the attention, it's almost like a validation.
Yeah, and the reviewer even compares it to those real-life cases where you have these serial killers. They want to insert themselves into the investigation.
Oh, wow.
Just to be in the spotlight.
Yeah. It's chilling. It's giving me like Silence of the Lambs vibes,
Oh, totally.
where they're trying to control the narrative.
Exactly. And that's the game that Shyamalan plays with us.
Oh, yeah.
He makes us question everything, right? Like all the way to the very end.
Speaking of endings, the reviewer did mention there's some Shyamalan twists.
Oh, of course.
In this one, in the second half, especially.
Naturally.
Maybe even a little too much for Shyamalan.
Too much, even for him.
But here's the thing. The reviewer kind of loves it.
Of course he does. It's like you can't help but admire the audacity.
Yeah.
He's throwing everything at the wall, right? To see what sticks.
It's true.
And yeah, maybe not all of it works, but it's going to be a wild ride.
So it's over the top, but in a good way.
Yeah, he's like, it's got that same energy as his early stuff, like The Sixth Sense, Signs, that kind of unpredictable vibe.
Right. Those were his big hits, right?
Yeah. And he's saying this movie's got that same raw energy, maybe not as polished, a little rough around the edges, but definitely a wild ride.
Okay, so it's like classic Shyamalan, but maybe with a twist. So should we watch it or what?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. He starts comparing Trap to Robert Bresson.
Robert Bresson. Okay.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory. Who's that?
Oh, man. Bresson. That's going way back. He's like the godfather of minimalist filmmaking.
Minimalist filmmaking.
He's a French director,
Yeah.
known for these really stark, realistic films.
Okay.
And everything's about restraint, this slow burn that just sneaks up on you.
Interesting. Okay.
Pure emotional intensity.
So the opposite of a Shyamalan movie about a serial killer at a concert.
Yeah, you'd think. But the reviewer's saying there are these weird parallels.
Really?
Particularly in how they use the camera to build that suspense. He even mentions Bresson's A Man Escaped about this prisoner planning his escape.
Okay, I can kind of see that. Like, trapped, trying to outsmart the system.
Exactly.
But totally different approaches, right?
Oh, yeah. One's going for stark realism. The other's, well, Shyamalan.
Right. And Shyamalan loves to go big.
But then, get this, he plays a clip where Shyamalan's asked about Bresson's A Man Escaped, and he's like a giddy film student.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, he says, oh man, he's unbelievable. It was actually that put me on to him when she went to film school. When she went to NYU film school, she called me and said, oh my God, have you seen A Man Escaped? And I said, I don't think so. So I watched it and I was like, oh, this is incredible. And I had seen, oh, Hazard Balthazar, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had seen that one. I didn't realize that was Bresson, but I obviously loved it. But God, his sense of what he did in A Man Escaped, I don't understand.
He's starstruck by Bresson.
Totally.
That's amazing. Now I kind of want to see it.
Right. It makes you see Trap and honestly all of Shyamalan's films in a whole new light.
You've got this director known for these huge twists, these crazy set pieces, and he's humbled by this minimalist master.
Totally. And then he says something about sushi.
Soup.
It's a Shyamalan interview. You never know what you're going to get. But he says, how I felt so much tension for so little camera work. It was incredible. It's a magic trick. So it reminded me again that sushi making is my goal. That's what, the least ingredients at the highest quality.
Sushi making. Okay, I did not see that coming.
Right.
But I think, again, it's like the simplest approach can be the most powerful.
Exactly. You're not overwhelming the audience. You're just hitting those essential elements like a perfectly crafted piece of sushi.
So is that what Shyamalan was going for with Trap? Minimalist thriller?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably too simple to say that's all he was doing, but the connections there makes you wonder.
Yeah, like maybe this is him stripping things back, experimenting a little. Well, there you have it. Trap, a film that might just surprise you, even if you're a diehard Shyamalan fan.
It's true.
This review was a wild ride. We talked suspense, perspective, even sushi. Who knew?
And that's what's so great about these deep dives.
It's true. You never know where you're going to end up.
Exactly. So, for everyone listening, if you're looking for a thought-provoking thriller, check out Trap.
Definitely check it out.
And if this conversation sparked your curiosity about Robert Bresson, well, you know what to do. Go watch A Man Escaped.